I'm Cynthia Aguirre, and here are your headlines from North Texas. Human remains have been found in the search for a boy who's been missing since 2022. This comes after days of combing through dirt at a home in Tarrant County. Brittany Costello reports from Everman on the search for Noel Rodriguez Alvarez.
After days of digging and years of investigating, police have made a discovery in the case of missing 6-year-old Noel Rodriguez Alvarez.
I want to begin by acknowledging the weight of this moment.
Investigators found human remains in the backyard of a home in Everman where Noel lived with his family. The little boy had special needs. Investigators say he was abused and malnourished and last seen alive in 2022.
I hope it's that little boy so they can get some closure for that young man.
While the remains have not been identified, Tarrant County District Attorney Phil Sorrells says this could be a huge step toward justice.
Noel was a child whose life mattered. We will not forget him, and we will not stop working for justice for him.
The boy's mother, Cindy Rodriguez Singh, is charged with Noel's death. She fled the country with her husband and children after it was reported her son was missing. She was brought back to the U.S. last year.
I would love to see justice.
Mike Ford's family has lived down the street for more than 50 years.
To be buried like garbage and to be forgotten, that is sad.
The remains are with the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office for identification and forensic examination.
Our biggest priority right now is justice. And we have to be very careful about the comments that we put out and what we say that could interfere with that.
Cindy Rodriguez Singh is facing a capital murder charge in the death of her son. Last month, she was found incompetent to stand trial, but the Tarrant County District Attorney is confident she will be brought to justice and believes this new evidence will support that. In Everman, I'm Brittany Costello.
Dallas police are investigating after a woman's body was found in a freezer in Oak Cliff. Investigators say they discovered the remains Sunday and identified the victim as 27-year-old Maria Murray. It is still not clear what happened to her. We've reached out to her family and other authorities to get you an update. Johnson County Sheriff Adam King back in court Thursday as he faces several criminal charges. He made headlines this week for firing one of his top deputies. Scoop Jefferson was at the hearing and spoke to King as he entered the courtroom.
Today's hearing here at the courthouse was packed full of pretrial motions. Sheriff Adam King arrived here with his wife by his side, sharing the impact the charges and the case is having on him and his family.
Well, I'm just ready to get my name cleared.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's been a long saga.
It has. It has. We're ready for this to be over.
What's this done to your family?
Well, it's taken a toll on us.
A grand jury indicted Sheriff King on charges that include retaliation against a witness and official oppression tied to sexual harassment allegations. Sheriff King strongly denies those allegations. Pretrial motions in court included the DA asking the judge to find King in violation of his court order not to have direct or indirect contact with his alleged victims. This week, Sheriff King fired Chief Deputy James Salter after having someone contact him to attend an internal affairs investigation meeting, then fired him for not showing up. King's criminal trial was supposed to start next week, but the judge granted the DA a continuance because of new evidence in the case. The sheriff's attorney talked to us about the trial being moved to the end of June.
I feel good. The case needs to go to trial. It needs to get in front of a jury, and we're headed that way.
The district attorney who wanted the sheriff found insufficient for not following court orders declined comment after court today. And the attorney for Jim Salter, he also wanted the sheriff held accountable. Both sides will come back here June 22nd for King's trial. In Johnson County, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
Humanoid robots are now banned from Southwest Airlines after a futuristic flight into Dallas. A man says he flew his robot Stewie from Las Vegas to Dallas Love Field a few days ago. It was the first time he ever successfully got Stewie on a flight. Typically, TSA turns him away, he said, because of the battery, but the man managed to find one with a size under the legal limit and got Stewie on board. Well, now Southwest issued a ban on any human or animal-like robots, regardless of size. The airline says the move helps keep them in line with lithium battery safety rules. We talk a lot about rapid growth in North Texas, and new numbers show just how dominant our boom is compared to the rest of the nation. New census data shows 4 of the 5 fastest growing cities in the United States are in North Texas suburbs. Leading the list is Salina, where the population jumped nearly 25% in just 1 year. It was also the fastest growing city of its size in the country in 2024, with long-term projections showing its population could quintuple in just 10 years. Also on the list, Princeton, Melissa, and Anna, all suburbs in Collin County, and quickly transforming as new neighborhoods and developments move in. And the growth doesn't stop there. Forney and Greenville also made the top 15 nationwide. Organizations fighting homelessness are asking county leaders to let voters decide on a homeless tax this November. Officials say it would raise property taxes by an average of $5, but it would make a very big impact. Mitty Hicks spoke to organizations to hear more about the proposal.
Well, these streets here in downtown Dallas look a lot different than they did in 2024. The city of Dallas invested $30 million to close homeless encampments in public areas and move residents into permanent housing through the Street to Home initiative. That was phase 1. And now Housing Forward, the lead agency working to fight homelessness, is moving on to phase 2, which involves expanding to more neighborhoods that need help. But they need more money. Nonprofit leaders say the tax would raise about $100 million a year.
For the average property owner, that would be a $5 a month investment in preventing people from sleeping outside and from really avoiding hundreds of millions of costs to public systems as we manage this crisis in jails and hospitals.
County Judge Clay Jenkins said county commissioners have until August to approve the proposal for voters to decide in November. In Dallas, I'm Mitty Hicks.
A band from Dallas is headed to one of the music industry's most recognizable little stages.
And what better way to put eyes on Dallas than to go rap in front of a big old eyeball?
NPR Music selected Cure for Paranoia out of more than 6,000 entries nationwide in its Tiny Desk contest. The group will go on a 10-city national tour after the Tiny Desk performance in Washington, D.C. Whataburger restaurants could receive a new look. The company unveiled 2 new design prototypes. The first pays tribute to its roots, featuring the A-frame design. The second is a more compact space that will be used in urban and populated areas. Starting next year, these stores will first be featured in Texas and then be rolled out to other states. Well, we want to show you a big development ahead of the World Cup. AT&T Stadium will host 9 high-energy matches. The first one is in a month. And instead of the turf you see at Cowboys games, there will be grass. Kevin Reese has an exclusive sneak preview of that grass.
This is your first look at the all-grass pitch here inside AT&T Stadium. To answer your first question, a mix of Kentucky bluegrass and rye. And the pink lights that you see behind me over here are grow lights that for the first time ever are completely suspended from a stadium ceiling. The grass field itself sits 24 inches off the base cement floor of the stadium, sitting on top of an irrigation and ventilation system and layers of subsurface and dirt. Machines are also stitching the seams together with nylon, as has become the normal practice for fields like this, to make it even more durable. This has been months of work for the 9 FIFA World Cup matches that will be held here at what will be called Dallas Stadium. But it is the result of years of planning to bring the World Cup to the home of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that we've had natural grass fields kind of for short periods inside stadiums like this before, but even, we're going to be in here for close on, I think, 63 or 64 days inside this venue. The idea is that, hey, now we're bringing kind of an idea that it can happen for that long.
And as for the Dallas Cowboys fans who are wondering if the grass field is here to stay, don't get your hopes up. This is still a multi-use stadium, and the Cowboys turf will return as soon as the FIFA World Cup is over. At AT&T Stadium, for now called Dallas Stadium, I'm Kevin Reese.
And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Hello there, Mia Gradney here in Houston with a look at what's making headlines, starting with a terrifying ordeal and shocking new allegations in the attack of a Texas Medical Center worker in a parking garage. Police say she was zip-tied and stabbed. 46-year-old Perry Green is accused of targeting the woman as she sat in her car, binding her with those zip ties before she was able to get away. Jason Miles has the very latest from the Harris County Jail.
Suspect Perry Green is currently being held here without bond because of his lengthy criminal history, which includes arrests for burglary, drug possession, and a conviction for aggravated robbery. 3 days after allegedly attacking a young Houston Methodist researcher inside this Texas Medical Center garage.
Are you going to need a court-appointed attorney? Are you a U.S. citizen?
46-year-old suspect Perry Green appeared in probable cause court, where the magistrate detailed some of what Green is accused of doing.
Approached her and grabbed her and knocked her back down into her car as she was getting out of the car. You allegedly stabbed her with some kind of knife or other sharp instrument that had like an orange handle on it. You bound her up with Ziploc ties that happened to be in the car.
We're told the victim was able to escape as Green demanded her credit or debit cards through the passenger side door. Police say surveillance images of Green from a Houston Metro camera helped lead to his arrest.
Because of the system, we were able to capture the alleged suspect along our system and provide those footages to our primary lead, the lead agency investigating the case, which is HPD.
According to court records, Green has a lengthy criminal history. That includes serving 15 years of a 25-year sentence for aggravated robbery.
This guy is a career habitual violent felon.
Andy Kahn with Crime Stoppers of Houston says Green served even more time for a parole violation, but was released just 2 months before this week's attack on the hospital employee.
She survived, yet at the same time, she's going to bear the scars of a lifetime from this.
We saw multiple patrol units at the garage today, where many people who regularly park here are relieved by news of an arrest.
Yes, definitely. I'm glad that we figured out what was going on at least, and I just kind of hope that people are able to be more safe after that.
Green is scheduled to appear in criminal court tomorrow. That's when a bond might be set. Reporting from the Harris County Jail, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
More service cuts could be on the horizon for Harris County as officials brace for a nearly $130 million budget deficit. Some officials blame law enforcement pay raises for the county's financial situation. Orko Manna has more.
Serious problem, and unfortunately, one that we saw coming.
Harris County facing at least a $129 million budget deficit for the 2027 fiscal year. Judge Lena Hidalgo says she warned the Commissioner's Court not to approve law enforcement raises for constables and sheriff's deputies last year, which she says is a large chunk of the deficit.
$42 million for the second year of the law enforcement of the pay parity with HPD.
Hidalgo says that, on top of the other major expenses forecasted, including healthcare spending and inflation-related costs, will impact residents.
You're going to be hearing about Harris County fees, cuts, others soon enough if we don't figure out a way to be more efficient.
Commissioners say that's not ideal, but the county's current financial situation may demand it.
I'm not necessarily a fan of increasing fees because we just haven't done it. But I know that sometimes it's necessary.
The projected budget for next fiscal year is just over $3 billion. I asked Hidalgo where cuts could be made, but that's still unclear.
In fact, I think the worst case scenario is we not only have to cut across the board, but we make even more commitments that we can't pay for.
That was Orko Manna reporting. The Houston Comets are apparently written in the stars. Houston helped build the WNBA. And now, after nearly 2 decades away, the franchise that won the league's first 4 championships is coming home. Jason Bristol is at Toyota Center for the official announcement and why this version hopes to be even better for H-Town.
And the Houston Comets make history. The Houston Comets are officially back. And the Rockets ownership says bringing back the name and legacy mattered just as much as bringing back the league itself.
It was immensely important.
The Fertitta family reportedly paying around $300 million to purchase the Connecticut Sun and relocate the franchise to Houston beginning next season. But ownership says this was never simply about buying a WNBA team. It was about restoring an iconic brand.
It honestly didn't make a lot of sense to go any other direction. There is such a special brand and identity that already exists.
The original Comets, winners of the WNBA's first 4 championships before folding in 2008 during a much different financial era for women's basketball.
My star players made $50,000 a year. We flew commercial.
Today, the league is booming with rising attendance, major media deals, and ownership groups willing to spend heavily to get in.
When you guys expect the franchise to reach profitability?
Immediately.
And now that the announcement is complete, once this is all packed away, work here will start at Toyota Center to turn this into the Comets practice court. As part of Toyota Center Reimagined, here's what will await the new Comets. The logo and uniform will eventually follow. Ownership hoping the next generation of Comets will once again make Houston the center of women's basketball.
What do we want to replicate? We want to replicate the success. Yeah, that's the number one thing.
At Toyota Center, Jason Bristol, KHOU 11 News.
We can't wait to cheer the Comets on. And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Gradney.
Well, happy Friday. We've been dealing with the heat here across Texas for the past couple of days. A lot of our areas have stayed dry with high pressure being the dominant weather feature. But if you've been up in the Panhandle, far north Texas, we've been watching for some strong severe thunderstorms. Had a few of those roll through the Panhandle yesterday evening, and we will continue to watch for additional potentials as we head into today and also for tomorrow as we kick off the weekend. A lot of us just staying hot into this weekend. We will, however, start to see the return of an active weather pattern really for the good majority of us heading into next week with daily rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Taking a look at what we can expect heading into the rest of your Friday. We started off pretty quiet, but we will be tracking some showers and thunderstorms developing again in parts of the Panhandle. So areas like Lubbock down to the San Angelo area, North Texas, we'll be watching for some rounds of thunderstorms. Some of these could become strong to possibly severe before these start to kind of wind down as we head into this evening, and then again firing up as we head into your Saturday along a dry line that we're going to be watching heading into the upcoming weekend. So we'll watch out for that. The rest of us, though, Central Texas into parts of East Texas and even down to the valley, looking pretty quiet. The severe thunderstorm risk yesterday was really focused across the Panhandle, but look at how it kind of shifts, but also decreases a little bit for today. Still, though, highlighting parts of the Panhandle, North Texas, and similar for your Saturday, we'll still be tracking the possibility of seeing some hail producers along with some gusty to damaging winds across those specific areas. But most of us looking good as we head into the weekend. The heat, though, it's certainly on. In fact, up through areas like Lubbock and up through Amarillo, we're talking about those temperatures topping off close to 100 degrees, if not hitting that century mark. In and around the Central Texas area, East Texas, upper 80s and low 90s. We're also going to feel more humidity back with us as well. And then down through parts of the valley, we're talking about low 90s through the weekend, middle 90s out through areas like El Paso as we head into your Saturday and Sunday. We've been keeping it quiet thanks to a ridge of high pressure that's been building across the area, but this is going to start to break down as we head into the weekend, but really into next week. We've got a deep trough of low pressure digging across the western United States heading into early next week. That's going to put that storm track right over Texas. Moisture coming in from the Pacific along with that storm track shifting over us is going to equal higher rain chances each and every day heading into what will be specifically your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You'll want that umbrella handy really beginning on early next work week. We start to see the return of higher chances, higher coverage of the rain and thunderstorms, especially for the eastern half of the state. Same thing for your Tuesday. These will not be creating for a washout of a forecast, but each day featuring spotty showers and thunderstorms. Again, especially across the eastern half of the state, coverage could be increasing a little bit more as we take you into your Wednesday and Thursday. So rainfall totals, where can you expect the heaviest of the rain? Well, if you're in the areas like Dallas, Central Texas, Austin area, out through Houston, East Texas, that's where you're looking at amounts between 1 to 2 inches and some amounts that could be exceeding 3 inches of rain, depending on where some of those heavier downpours set up. But it's again the eastern half that's looking most active with that kind of weather pattern. All of us, so kind of keeping it more active than average as we head into the next 6 to 10 10 days. So even as we approach the end of May, we're still talking about this wetter than average weather pattern that will continue to bring us additional rounds of showers and thunderstorms. So enjoy the sunshine while we got it. I know this weekend it's going to be a warm one, but we continue with the drier conditions, at least for those weekend plans. Here is your Texas forecast, region by region.
I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Prices are now rising faster than wages for the first time since 2023. And now more people in Central Texas are searching for help to make ends meet. 6 News reporter Sydney Walker was at Connolly High School at a food distribution event to hear from people on how they are dealing with this inflation.
From gas prices to grocery store aisles, the cost of living is at a high. It's a struggle. Janice Potter is one of dozens of Central Texans feeling the impact.
You have to make major adjustments if you're on a fixed income. What used to be $50 is now $75 to $100.
And for her, it isn't as simple as walking to the corner store.
I live in the country, so when you make a trip into town, that's 30 miles.
It's getting harder to make ends meet.
Prices have doubled and tripled on a lot of the basic necessities.
The inflation rate for April was 3.8%, the highest in nearly 3 years.
Your paycheck this month will not buy as much as your paycheck last month.
Economist Ray Perryman said prices are rising faster than wages.
What your wages will buy is actually going down.
In part, it's due to the conflict in Iran. The high oil prices are trickling down into several markets.
A lot of other things that consumers buy, cosmetics, adhesives, paint.
Not just gas or food.
If you're worrying about putting food on your table, there are lots of other things that you're also worrying about.
Ann Owen with Caritas says in the past few months, more people have been coming to them for help.
We have a lot of people calling for rental assistance, asking us if we can help them actually find affordable housing, assistance with transportation, prescription medication.
But Perryman says it won't last forever.
Once we get past this conflict, you will see the oil prices come down, which will make the gasoline prices and a lot of other prices have less pressure.
In the meantime, Central Texans will have to stretch their dollar even farther.
It's everything. The community is just struggling with everything.
Rising gas prices and inflation aren't just hitting families at the grocery store or the gas pump. They're also impacting local businesses that depend on their vehicles to stay running. 6 News reporter Juliana Jackson spoke with business owners who say they're now facing tough decisions as costs continue to climb.
Mobile business owners say inflation is hitting them hard in every direction.
Gas prices are just killing us, and that's not even making a dent in the cost of everything.
Bruce Winkler with Temple Towing says just keeping his tow trucks on the road has become more expensive. He says gas, insurance, tires, and maintenance costs have all surged.
I haven't gone up on my rates in 4 years. I did go up this year $10.
Basic maintenance now comes with a hefty price tag for him.
I'm going to have to put tires just on a flatbed. It cost me about $3,000.
On the forefront of it affecting us is the gas prices right now. That's our highest overhead cost overall.
Laura Egan with More Air says their team is also feeling the weight of inflation. The HVAC company has 7 trucks and vans running daily across Central Texas. And with more driving comes more money spent at the gas pump.
Getting those gas receipts and they're doubled from what they've normally been, so it's been tough to deal with that.
She says the cost of metal, equipment, and special HVAC parts has also risen.
The cost of metal is just about doubled for us.
And while both businesses say they're trying to absorb as many of the costs as possible, they admit there may come a point where they can't do it any longer.
Like I said, if it comes down from our distributors and we start getting gas surcharges, there's not a lot we can do about it, but we're doing our best for everyone in the community right now.
As more people hit the road this upcoming summer, these companies say they'll keep working to balance serving customers while also keeping their own businesses afloat. Those are your headlines from Central Texas.
I'm Quita Culpepper in Austin, and Austin police are asking for the public's help to find a package thief. Officers believe this man on your screen stole more than $130,000 worth of packages from different FedEx holding facilities across Austin. The thefts happened between September of last year and this February. They say he stole the packages by using fake IDs with the names of the people to whom those packages were addressed. KVUE reached out to FedEx to see if it's cooperating with APD's investigation. We have not yet heard back. The city of Hutto is laying the groundwork for a new fire station on the east side of the city limits. It'll be built near the Hutto mega site on Highway 79. KVUE's Jessica Cha spoke with city leaders about the plan and about the concerns the existing emergency services department has about it.
Growth in Hutto is no longer just a projection.
We were ranked 13th fastest growing city in the nation, over 25,000 people, and I don't know if that's slowed down any.
It's a reality that's fast approaching as large industrial businesses like Samsung and Smartbox start to move in nearby. And Mayor Mike Snyder says they aim to keep up.
As cities have expanded, cities incorporate their own city fire departments.
The city currently doesn't have its own fire department. Instead, it's served by Williamson County Emergency Services District Number 3, more commonly known as Hutto Fire Rescue.
I don't think there's anybody that has a complaint with the service of ESD. It's just, again, it's a natural progression. If you look at the bigger cities, they all have their own city fire departments.
So at their May 7th meeting, Hutto city leaders approved the plan to allow their Economic Development Corporation to help.
We're able to do this without raising taxes on everybody, and so we're able to, the EDC has approved purchasing the land and has hired an architect and to design and build a fire station.
There's not much there now, but the station will be 4 miles away from those large industrial facilities. And it's also not far from a new fire station ESD3 says they're already planning to build.
We were already publicly discussing a fire station in this area long before we heard the city talk about a fire station.
Henry Gideon with the ESD board says they were surprised to hear about the city's decision, considering they already cover the area.
My understanding is this was put on their agenda last week with no notice, and based on some of the community responses on Facebook, people are kind of upset about the fact that there was no community input.
Gideon says they already plan to expand in that area and hire more staff to keep up.
I think it's redundancy, and I also think it's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
But Mayor Snyder says their EDC is paying for the costs, and more stations could help all fire services work better.
I would think the ESD would want to help us with what we're doing because, again, we're not here for power. We're not here for other motives. We're literally here to serve the people.
Dealing with growing pains as Hutto expands. Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
The measure approved this week allows Hutto's Economic Development Corporation to start the process of buying the land for the fire station. There's no firm timeline for the city to build it just yet. The most recent STAR test scores from 2025 in Central Texas show a mixed bag for 3 of our area's largest school districts. Students in Austin ISD did better in U.S. history than the year before, but still fell behind Leander and Round Rock ISD scores. And that's even with scores in Leander taking a dip in 2025. All 3 districts improved in biology, but test scores in all 3 districts also got worse in the English and literacy sections of the test. Some Central Texas couples say they are scrambling after their wedding venue suddenly shut down. Desert Door Distillery in Driftwood near Dripping Springs recently closed its doors without warning, leaving them searching for a new place to celebrate their big day. KVUE's Brianna Perez has that story.
Wedding plans now in limbo after one bride says her venue canceled with only months to spare.
It can put a bride in a bind, and it's frustrating.
Monique Aguilar says plans were already underway for their January wedding at Desert Door Distillery until she started seeing other brides-to-be posting about their own bad news.
I see people start commenting saying they canceled us a month out of from our wedding, and then another person put, oh, they canceled a rehearsal dinner for us. We have to find something else. And I was like, what is going on?
After she called and emailed several times, Monique finally received a response saying they are processing her refund immediately, citing difficulties in the economy for the cancellation.
I mean, I had kind of already shared with our whole family where it was going to be at. I put it on our wedding page. Every little part of your wedding planning is an investment, whether it's time or money.
Now that Desert Door has shut their doors, many brides tell me they're left to pick up the pieces. While some brides tell me their weddings are months away, others tell me they learned about the closure just weeks before their big day. They call it a lack of communication and say they are now scrambling to find an alternative.
Yeah, it's still like 8 months out, but I still have to take time off work from here, drive out there because we're not locals, and find something else.
As wedding season ramps up, the Better Business Bureau recommends carefully reviewing contracts before signing, paying close attention to customer service and communication, and understanding how different payment methods can impact your protection if issues arise. They say credit cards offer the most protection, while cash payments should always include a receipt. Peer-to-peer payment apps should be avoided.
It's a big decision. A lot of money's on the line. And arguably, I mean, this is a big season. It's a big time for brides. So you want to make sure that all the dots are checked and all the I's are crossed.
In Driftwood, Brianna Bettis, KVUE News.
Now to a major milestone for Austin. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the capital city's population surpassed 1 million people in 2025. Austin is now the 12th most populous city in the country. There were a little more than 1,002,000 residents in 2025. The city's website has the total population now at 1,035,000. In a statement, Mayor Kirk Watson calls it a historic moment for Austin, adding, quote, one my predecessor, Edwin Waller, probably didn't even think about when he surveyed the site that would eventually become our beloved city back in 1839, end quote. The Central Texas Food Bank is expanding its reach. On Thursday, the nonprofit announced it will merge with Waco-based Shepherd's Heart on June 1st. The two nonprofits have partnered for years, and leaders say the merger will help strengthen food access across the 21 counties they both serve. This summer, the Central Texas Food Bank will also open a new 64,000 square foot facility in Waco, featuring an on-site market, emergency services center, commercial kitchen, and workforce training programs. Austin Community College is celebrating its largest graduating class in history. More than 3,700 students graduated. The college hosted 2 ceremonies to accommodate the grads on Thursday. The first ceremony happened in the afternoon at the HEB Center in Cedar Park. The other was held at 7 p.m. The number of grads jumped 12% compared to last year, driven by demand for nurses, teachers, and people working skilled trades. Combined with fall graduates, ACC expects to honor more than 8,000 students this year. And that's all from us here in Austin. Hope you have a great day.
I'm Mike Gillespie in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's making news in South Texas. For some veterans, the battle doesn't end when they come home, and the hardest part can be navigating life after the service. As Michael Gibson shows us, one Corpus Christi man says getting help through a local treatment program gave him a chance to rebuild his life.
Here at the Synacor Drug and Alcohol Rehab Facility off of Cantwell, officials here are really hoping they can get more of those homeless veterans off our streets and walking into their facility to try and get them the treatment they need and deserve.
Scott Bullard is one of those homeless veterans who finally walked through the doors here looking for help. The former Marine says after returning home in the late 1990s, unresolved trauma sent him down a dangerous path of alcohol and drug addiction.
The night I got home from the Marine Corps in 1997, driving up the Harbor Bridge, I put my first line of cocaine up my nose, and it destroyed me for 25 years. It was very progressive.
Over time, Bullard says addiction cost him nearly everything. He ended up homeless on the streets of Corpus Christi, losing both his family and his dream of working in law enforcement.
I was the guy behind eating out a Whataburger dumpster. You know what I mean? I know that's a lot of people wouldn't say that here on the news, but I was that guy. I was that guy.
Now, counselors here say many veterans who come through their doors are determined to rebuild their lives. Caitlin Bailey is both a veterans counselor and someone in recovery herself. She says once veterans commit to treatment, many begin making major changes quickly.
They sit down and, they tell me, what do you need from me? What do I do? Help me move forward. And when we go through, the different steps, different goals they want to achieve and things like that, they set their mind to it and they do it. It's that easy.
I always applaud people who walk through our doors, who are brave enough to walk through our doors and just ask for help or, come in for services, because there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, still struggling.
Today, Bullard is out of treatment and continuing his recovery back at home. He's searching for work, training for a couple of marathons, and focused on moving forward. After years of running from addiction, he now says he's finally running toward something better. Michael Gibson, 3 News.
And speaking of running, the final preparations are underway for Saturday's annual Beach to Bay relay. And for some, this is bigger than just an ordinary race. In fact, one athlete taking part is a high school sophomore who's breaking barriers and inspiring others along the way. Lydia Herrera shares her story.
Let's go! Thousands of runners are set to hit the streets for the annual Beach to Bay Relay Marathon, like veteran sophomore Sarah Flores. But she's not just taking part. She's making history before the race even begins.
Loved racing, but Beach to Bay is different because I will be one of the first wheelchair racers to ever run Beach to Bay.
With her custom-made wheelchair, she's now racing on the track. And her parents couldn't be prouder of everything she's achieved so far.
That's our life. We live inclusion all the time. And so her mission and vision for Beach to Bay was inclusion. She wanted to see her community, her city here, that you can do it. It may look different for some, but you can still do it.
This will be Sarah's longest race, but Eric says she's ready.
Monday through Thursday, she's at the weight room 7 o'clock in the morning. And then she's at practice until 5 p.m. after school. And so we do that usually 3 to 4 days a week.
Organizer Doug McGee says this moment is more than just another race milestone. It's a reminder that this event is for everyone and that determination can redefine what's possible.
It's wonderful. We always try to do inclusion in everybody, and it means a lot. Extremely proud. It's really fantastic. I look forward to seeing her across the finish line.
And this isn't the only race she's got this week.
So I will be going to our track and field state championships this week in Austin, and I will be competing against, I think, 8 other people.
Just a girl, her racing chair, and a mission to inspire.
What really drives me is I want to make a difference in the community, and I also want to show people that no matter your circumstances, no matter what you go through, anything you want is possible. You just have to reach for it.
Lydia Herrera, 3 News.
And that is a quick look at some of what's making news right here in South Texas.
I'm Henry Ramos, and this is the news in San Antonio. A family is looking for answers after a man was shot and killed less than 24 hours after moving to San Antonio. A mother says that she listened helplessly on the phone as her 24-year-old son took his final breaths after being shot outside a far west side apartment complex. Now his family wants justice. Elisa Nieves has the story.
He was like the son that every mom would want.
Frankie Garza had plans, a new city, a new job, a new chapter in life. The 24-year-old just moved from Carrizo Springs to San Antonio last Tuesday. By Wednesday night, his mother says he called her with words no parent should hear.
He's like, Mom, can you call Lisa? Tell her I've been shot.
At first, Erica Garza says she thought her son was joking. Then she heard him struggling to breathe.
I was hearing him breathe like he couldn't breathe right. He was breathing very heavy.
2 hours away in Carrizo Springs, Erica tried desperately to keep Frankie on the phone while his roommate Alyssa searched for him. Family says Frankie went out earlier that day with a new friend he met at the complex, then vanished.
She's like, Alexis, I can't find him. he's not here. I don't know where he is.
Bexar County Sheriff's investigators were called to the Sienna at Westover Hills Apartments off Petranco Road just before 11 Wednesday night. Deputies found Frankie dead outside an apartment door, shot in the abdomen. His roommate says it was in the same building where his new friend lived.
He would trust everybody. And I would tell him, like, don't be trusting. Like, you can't trust anybody, you know? Like, you need to be careful, you know? Like, you think everybody's your friend.
Family says Frankie was staying with a friend while apartment hunting and job searching. His dream was to get his CDL, become a truck driver, and eventually start a business with his dad.
He's like, I just want a fresh start. That's all I want.
Now, a mother who just hugged her son goodbye is begging for answers.
I want justice for my son.
BCSO is still investigating. Family is pleading for anyone with information or ring video from that night to come forward. To learn how you can help, visit KENS5.com and click on this story. Alicia Nieves, KENS 5.
A call it a long list of larceny, mail theft, ID theft, fraud, and narcotics charges. Live Oak investigators arrested 5 people, and they say more charges could be coming. Sue Kalberg reports.
Several of the neighbors here told me Live Oak is peaceful and they pay more to live here. That's why they were shocked when their neighbors were lined up and put in handcuffs and led away. Live Oak PD and members of the Alamo Area Regional SWAT team worked together to the relief of neighbors.
And I saw like 3 or 4 SWAT soldiers coming from the other way.
She was fully tactical uniform. And then,
not the kind of thing you expect in your neighborhood.
Absolutely not.
It pretty much surprised me too, because I actually moved here because it was, military friendly.
This isn't the place for this.
Many said they've noticed people coming and going at all hours and lots of cars that just didn't belong. Police say many of those cars were stolen and identified by license plate readers.
Oh, I had no idea of that.
When detectives started looking, they say they identified at least 5 people they've tied to lots of different crimes. And they've recovered suspected fake IDs, stolen credit cards, checks, mail, electronic devices, and narcotics. Live Oak police say more arrests could be coming, so we'll keep watching. In Live Oak, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
An emotional homecoming for a San Antonio family detained by ICE after their arrest at an Alamo Heights school bus stop sparked national attention. After more than 2 weeks apart, the 2 children and their stepmother are now back home. Vanessa Croy was there for the emotional moments.
As you can imagine, being separated for over 2 weeks, this reunion was filled with emotion. We spoke with 8-year-old daughter who told me she goes by Victoria, and the first thing that she wanted to say was not anything about her experience, but she wanted to say thank you to her school, to her friends, and to this community for help bringing her family back home.
Stealing. Yeah. It's a bad experience.
Yeah. Powerful words from an 8-year-old little girl. As Victoria Montserrat Labrador describes weeks in the ICE family detention center in Dilley, alongside her brother and stepmother. The family torn apart, and this morning finally reunited. On April 27th, Victoria, along with her 11-year-old brother Victor and stepmother, were waiting for the school bus outside their Alamo Heights townhome when immigration agents surrounded them. They were taken into custody and transported to the ICE center in Dilley. The family's attorney says it was allegedly a case of mistaken identity.
And she said, I'm not Jocelyn. And they said, well, we're taking you anyway. So, I mean, maybe they had someone else on their list that day, but they decided instead to take this family.
The detention quickly sparking community outrage with rallies, fundraisers, and support pouring in. And this morning, the family was finally released. Through tears, their stepmother, Batania, saying the nightmare is finally over and their family back together. As for the little girl whose life has been turned upside down, she had an emotional message for the people who helped bring her home.
I'm so happy in front of you of the school and the persons who's helped to me and all the help. Thank you so much.
As for what's next for this family, their attorney tells us they are still waiting for a date to be set where they can proceed with their asylum case. For now, reporting in Alamo Heights, Vanessa Croy, KENS 5.
And that is the news in San Antonio.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. A Tyler teen is defying the odds after facing cancer 4 separate times since childhood. Now she's preparing to walk across the graduation stage. CBS 19's Robert De La Garza shares how this is a moment her family once wasn't sure would ever come.
At the Children's Park of Tyler, every piece of art tells a story of a life lost. A line Michaela Nelson has walked many times before.
I've had cancer, but cancer is not me.
Since 6th grade, Michaela's life has been a constant battle, battling cancer 3 times in just 6 years.
With it just happening over and over again, I did get a little defeated and kind of overwhelmed.
Fighting kidney, lung, and brain cancer. Cherie Van Dyke says her daughter was once focused on just making it through middle school.
Because you want your children to achieve all their dreams and goals, but when this constant reminder keeps getting thrown in, it's hard.
Now Michaela has exceeded those goals and will be walking across stage as a Tyler High graduate.
At the fact that I went through so many things, yet here I am on stage graduating.
Don't ever give up. No matter how life gets hard, no matter the challenges, you can persevere.
But in April, Michaela was diagnosed once more with a brain tumor.
Sometimes it's hard, but I'm trying my best to remain positive, and whatever the doctors tell me they think is best, that's what I'm gonna do.
And her fight continues.
God has me here for a reason. I wouldn't go through all of these things without me having a purpose in life.
A fight that wouldn't be possible without faith, family, and a mother's support.
Through it all, she has been there for me the entire time. And I am so grateful to her for being there.
She looks to me for strength, but she doesn't know that I look to her. She is the strongest person that I have ever met in my life.
For most, the walk across stage is one of the biggest accomplishments in life. But for Michaela, her biggest walk in life is the one she takes daily in her fight to survive. For CBS 19, I'm Robert De La Garza.
We're in the middle of Police Officer Week. It is dedicated to appreciating our officers and also those who died in the line of duty. In Nacogdoches, brothers and sisters in blue, even strangers showed up in a big way to help the family of one officer who suffered a medical emergency. CBS 19's Jesus Martinez shares how the Nacogdoches Law Enforcement Foundation is helping a beloved officer.
There's 2 more that we gotta. If there is anything Texans love more than barbecue,
When you get them filled up, put them right here.
it is a cup of ice-cold lemonade
Okay, halfway sweet.
to go along with a side of beans on a May afternoon.
Yeah, it's just an opportunity for folks to get together and say, hey, these officers, they put their life on the line every single day.
But maybe what is better than that is helping those in need.
When you have a foundation like ours who are complete volunteers and we just try to support our law enforcement, they see that, they know there's a family that's struggling and they know them.
And that is the reason this Back the Blue barbecue is happening.
All right. Appreciate y'all coming in and supporting.
Oh, yeah.
They get your plate and all that?
Yeah.
Working on it? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And it was kind of, a godly thing where Jesus put in our heart, hey, let's have this barbecue and let's try to raise some money to support a family like this.
Officer Spencer Tudd was hospitalized earlier this month after suffering from his second major heart-related medical emergency. He was taken to UT Tyler Medical Center for treatment.
And his wife and 2 kids, they're just a amazing family, and they've just been struggling with a lot since June of last year, where their 10-year-old son was diagnosed with B-all leukemia.
Hundreds of plates were sold out for this year's Back the Blue barbecue.
You want to help carry bags too? Right, go, 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 go.
Helping law enforcement families like Officer Tutz.
We sold 500 plates, and a generous donor donated 100 of his plates back.
And the outpour of support,
they just came in droves,
was outstanding.
Thank y'all for coming by.
Absolutely.
Hey,
how are you?
Good to see you.
You too. The barbecue was sold out.
And then our sponsors were very willing to increase from 500 to 650 plates, and those sold out within 24 hours.
And on a week meant to honor those who serve and sacrifice. This community showed Officer Tutt and his family are not fighting alone.
They're very well respected and loved, And so there's not a family out there more deserving than they are, so we're truly humbled to support them.
And in true Texas fashion, the community came together over barbecue and lemonade to support one of their own. In Nacogdoches, I'm Jesus Martinez.
And that's a wrap of your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
Here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. In a 12 News exclusive, we've obtained internal documents revealing that Beaumont ISD plans to eliminate positions. This all follows the recent state takeover and appointment of a new superintendent and board of managers. 12 News reporter Ebony Coleman breaks it all down.
A big change is coming for Beaumont ISD. The district recently announced 2 positions, behavioral interventionist and wellness coordinators, will be eliminated for the 2026-2027 school year. Documents exclusively obtained by 12 News show employees in these roles were notified earlier this month. In a letter sent May 7th, behavior interventionalists were offered the opportunity to voluntarily transition to a teaching position. It goes on to say that your compensation for the 2026-2027 school year will likely be reduced from your current compensation, with pay based on a plan adopted by the Board of Managers. The district stresses that employees may consult with an attorney, but they had to accept the offer by May 11th. While no behavior interventionalist wanted to speak to 12 News, they did share some background information about the role. One told us the position provides emotional, behavioral, and crisis support for the entire school community, not just students, but teachers and staff. People in those roles often help de-escalate behavioral situations, support students through grief or trauma, coordinate resources after tragedies, and create a safer, more supportive school environment overall. And eliminating these roles is going to be bad. For wellness coordinators, the information is more vague. The district stated in their letter that the new instructional model does include new positions for which you may qualify. Closer to the end of the school year, you will be invited to attend a private internal job fair. However, selection for positions is not guaranteed and will be based on district needs, position requirements, and qualification of applicants. Comments on our 12 News post about this story also raised concerns. One person stated, "A lot of people about to really find out. A lot of parents should be outraged because majority of these kids have behavioral problems. Just wait. The superintendent thinks the kids will be engaged. They won't have time to act up. She has no idea what these teachers have dealt with this year. Behavior is a #1 issue." Another commenter says, "I don't think this is a good idea. They've helped my babies out so much the past few years at both schools."
And we reached out to Beaumont ISD for comment about all this. We're still waiting to hear back. Meanwhile, 15-year-old Beaumont gymnast Sophie Gravel is officially a national champion. She competed last weekend in Oklahoma City, taking first place on the balance beam. Now, we also wanted to know what her next steps are. 12 News reporter Cameron Burchett has more.
Get this, Sophie says she beat all 4 of her personal records at nationals.
Your Junior C balance beam champion, Sophie G.
For 15-year-old Sophie Gravel, competing at nationals was the opportunity of a lifetime. It was a chance to prove that all of her hard work has paid off.
We train in the morning from 9 to 12, and then we go upstairs, we eat, we do our school, and then at 4:30, we train again until 7:30.
Competing against over 50 girls, Sophie placed 16th overall in the entire competition, participating in all 4 events: vault, bars, beam, and floor. She even created new personal bests in nearly every category.
It was awesome. There was so many college coaches there. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I try to just tell myself it's just a competition. You've done this before.
On beam, she delivered the performance of her career and secured first place.
I got a 9.725, and there was a couple people that were close, but it was really nice. I mean, I like seeing people get high scores. It gives myself some more competition, makes me work harder.
Debbie Allport has coached Sophie since she was 5 years old and says what stood out most at Nationals wasn't just her skill, it was her focus.
She just got her mental game together. That's what they're looking for at college, you know, that you can handle the pressure. And she showed that she can handle it.
Now, with a national title under her belt, Sophie is already thinking about what comes next.
My dream is college gymnastics. I would love to compete for a D1 college gymnastics.
Sophie says she wants to continue her gymnastics career at either the University of Arkansas or UCLA. In studio, Cameron Burchett, 12 News.
And those were the headlines from Southeast Texas.